exciting day. Been waiting for this for so long. The Arc Droid is back. Now we've got ourselves a full-on production model Arc Droid. Wait, that looks like really good CAD cardboard. Perfectly flat. I gotta save that. Ironic that I'm talking about cardboard-aided design while unboxing a tool that uses computer-aided design. But you know, while I'm unboxing this, probably a good time to mention that if you want your very own Arc Droid, we're gonna be giving one away. So, you know, the usual giveaway. Go to our store, buy $5 of merch, get an entry to win your very own CNC plasma cutter. We're giving away one of our plasma cutters with it. So we'll give you the whole package of Arc Droid and plasma cutter so you can get started doing CNC plasming. So go check that out for sure. We do this whole process once with the stylus on here, and then we do it again with the torch head on there. Okay. And that's how it knows where everything is, because it measures it with the stylus, and then it compares it to that, and then does insane math. Cut out one of the only files that I have from before. I haven't been doing any CAD since we haven't had this for a while. But we're gonna sell these. If you go to our website and buy one of these bottle openers that I made, you can enter to win the Arc Droid. That'll get you however many entries for winning the Arc Droid. And if you do win it, I'll send the file for this along with it so you can cut out unlimited bottle openers of your own. Well, it dumped like 6 to 8 inches of super heavy snow overnight. The power was out this morning, and had to plow the driveway before we can get back to that wiring mess. Luckily, the power's back on.
This was already cut, but this wasn't like that. And every single one of these 2x6s is completely warped. Or these 2x8s.
Well, it was a 2x8.
Yeah. Look at those.
Now it's toothpicks.
Working on the wiring here, and one of the first things I've got to deal with, just because it's an aftermarket thing that isn't tied into the harness yet, is the computer that runs the power steering. So I'm thinking something like here or here. And then I'm thinking I might just make a big aluminum panel that goes over all this for like a few other modules and switches and stuff to mount to.
Well, Ethan and I have had a pretty big title change recently, so I'm gonna go up into the treehouse and tell you guys how we did it. So Ethan and I are officially lords. I am Lord Edwin, and Ethan is Lord Ethan. And that's because we've partnered with established titles. And what they do is basically you buy a part of land in Scotland, and this could be as cheap as you want. You just need 1 square foot, and you will get the title of Lord or Lady because you own land in Scotland. And the whole point of this is to protect some pristine, beautiful, biodiverse wilderness areas in Scotland. And you guys can get involved too by buying a plot of land. They will send you your official document that has your plot number and everything right on it. And they plant 1 tree with every order. Established Titles partners with One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to plant trees all around the world. You can even use this name on official documents like credit cards and plane tickets. It's a great last-minute gift. You can even get adjacent pieces of land if you're a couple doing this as a couple gift, and you get an official crest. They're doing a big sale right now, so use promo code GRIND. Go to establishedtitles.com/grind and you'll get 10% off. You get a really cool title change, and you'll be helping out a really cool cause. This segment has been sponsored by Established Titles. Now let's get back to building.
I found a little thing here that is an example of when you really just wonder what in the actual heck were the electrical engineers thinking when they designed this wiring harness. So this is a ground, and it was tied in with a piece of heat shrink to this ground that just went to the engineer of the chassis. I don't remember which, doesn't matter. It was just a chassis ground, right? That then goes straight to the negative terminal of the battery. Well, I stripped it all down, and it's got a plug here, presumably to make it easier to disassemble or whatever. And it's 2 wires. Okay, so you figure maybe those 2 wires are going somewhere different, 2 different places that need a ground? Nope, they just go right here and then are spliced into one ground that just goes in here to this other ground block. Like, why? Why would you put in 2 and then back to 1? It just annoys me. Got the wiring all stripped down, and I'm, cleaning up the modules, make them look shiny again. Now, the next step is to locate the battery, because before I do any of the wiring, I need to know where it's all going to and coming from. Obviously, my weight distribution OCD wants it to be as low and centered as possible. I've also learned my lesson on the kernel, and that is put your battery somewhere easy to access. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put it right there. It just fits in there really nicely. It's not too hard to get out. I'll just make a little tray that attaches in there one way or another. And then that way, if you ever need to jump start it, all you gotta do is just open the back doors of the Barbie camper and boop, your terminals are right there. Hey, we got some bonus weight reduction here. Look at all that. Look at all that weight reduction. Try this out before I get too deep into the idea, but I realized this winch power cable is significantly thicker gauge than any other cable in this whole factory wiring loop. The vast majority of the amperage in this line is for the starter, which you're not going to need to be using the starter and the winch at the same time. So, rather than run 2 whole sets of wires to the back here for the battery, my plan is to just run this one, which I've already run. This is the positive winch line. Run that up to where it makes sense for it to be. I can use this positive terminal on here as the main power source for everything up front. It's right next to the starter, so it's a really short run from that high gauge wire to the starter, and it'll just be tidier, cleaner, and, better. Yay, spaghetti! I'm gonna try and make all of the electronics way more centralized on this, just because OCD, and because if I'm redoing it, I might as well redo it right. All of this wire is essentially extra because my battery's back there, but like my main power supply is here, and all of the electronics that need to happen are essentially in this area, except for like taillights. Probably going to end up splicing just about every wire in this because they're all either too long, too short, or in the wrong place. In instances like this, I want it to be very compact, and I just like this method better. So what I do, but I have this box of like super cheap connector terminals, and I just grab one, I snip off whatever end it has, and then you're left with just a perfect little tiny crimp. And then rather than butt splicing them, like with these, you can overlap them, crimp them together, and then heat shrink it. I feel like it's just a better system, and it's smaller, cleaner. Whatever this time lapse is done, I'm gonna move this whole operation closer to the wood stove. soldering this one as opposed to just crimping it, just because I have these big crimps here, and I've found that they're just crimping them by themselves isn't like, I don't know, it's not necessarily the most solid connection. Oh no, I dropped it. Nice and soldered. If you turn the key on, the dash lights up, and it, you know, knows that it's in neutral, and it knows when it's not in neutral, so I got that hooked up right. Let's see if it cranks. Look at that. I've got at least some of it wired up correctly, so that's a start. One thing I'm not sure of yet is this wire for the tip-over sensor, which I am eliminating, but this wire, I don't know, because the tip-over sensor's internals were all complicated and circuit boardy. This wire either gets power or ground when it's upside down. I don't know which, or it gets power or ground when it's right side up. One way is gonna run and the other way is not. So right now, I'm gonna test and see if we have spark now. And if we have spark now, I can just cut this wire, cap it off, and forget about it. If we don't have spark, then I have to mess around with some stuff. That'd be a negative. Well, I may have screwed up more things. We'll see. Did a quick Google, and the tip-over sensor is not just a basic open-closed circuit. It's got circuit boards and stuff in there, so for the engine to run, the computer, or the CDI box, has to see a specific voltage, and I couldn't figure out what that was, but basically, I would have taken resistors and stuff that I don't have. So, what I did is I just made the tip-over switch think it's always right side up, which all I did is remove the part that actually moves inside there, and with that out, it just thinks it's right side up all the time, and then I just cut the rest of the box off, this is it here, and just epoxied the circuit board in place so that it can't get moisture in there. And I just hardwired it in. It'll get, you know, zip tied out of the way here when this is all finished. So now we have spark. Why did it die? Because I didn't have the fuel pump hooked up. So it just ran out of gas. Well, whatever. It runs! Again! Imagine that. Sounds a little better with the exhaust all welded up too. There's a little few leaks in there before, so that's good. But for now, the wiring's all tidied up. I'm waiting on some split loom to get it all covered up, but it's all where it needs to be. And look at that weight reduction. Oh, that wiring is no longer part of it. So satisfying. So yeah, I'm gonna make a little panel here. So there'll be ignition, there'll be probably 2 switches for lights. So there'll be like headlights and light bar, which I'll just wire into the low beam and high beam wires that are in this. And then of course there'll be a big red start button. And then there'll be a switch hooked to this green wire for 4-wheel drive. So yeah, next week, next video, next half a week, however that works out. Tidy up the rest of the wiring. We'll probably skim over that because you've already seen more wiring than you ever wanted to see. At some point soon, I'll be making a new steering wheel. Another big thing on the list is intake. I need to make it, because right now I've just got pieces of shirt as air filters. Obviously, there's not a lot of space here, so I'll need to make a merger thing, probably out of aluminum, because I can weld it, that brings these 2 intakes together into one. And then I think I want to do a schnorkel, so we'll bring it up here around and have a air filter up here somewhere, because obviously every good overland vehicle needs a schnorkel. So all of that and more in the next episode.